What if a single helicopter could dominate the battlefield, striking fear into the hearts of its enemies? For Russia, that role was given to the Ki-52 Alligator, a machine that seemed to rule the skies over Ukraine in the early days of the invasion. Russian propaganda portrayed the Ki-52 as an unstoppable predator, boasting advanced coaxial rotors, thermal vision, and armor said to withstand bullets and shrapnel alike. Yet today, we will examine whether those claims were ever as true as they sounded, or perhaps greatly exaggerated. Stay with us, because the insights you'll hear are available only here on our channel. The Kamov Ki-52 Alligator, known to NATO as Hokum-B, is one of Russia's most recognizable attack helicopters. Developed in the late 1990s as a two-seat variant of the Ki-50, it was designed to strike armored and unarmored ground targets, as well as slow-moving aerial threats. Its first prototype appeared in 1996, with a maiden flight in 1997, though serial production only began in 2008. By 2009, Russia had placed an initial order for 36 units, and within a few years, reports suggested that more than 140 additional helicopters were destined for its air forces. The Alligator was promoted as a symbol of modern Russian air power, equipped with advanced avionics, helmet-mounted top-hull displays, and integrated flight controls that allowed the crew to operate in almost any condition, day or night. Russian propaganda portrayed the Ki-52 as an unstoppable predator of the skies. Its arsenal included 6 laser-guided Victory anti-tank missiles with a range of up to 10 kilometers, 80mm S-8 rockets, and Igla short-range air-to-air missiles mounted under each wingtip. These weapons were advertised as a nightmare for Ukrainian armor, reinforcing the image of the Ki-52 as a high-tech predator. Yet as the war unfolded, the helicopter's reputation began to falter, raising doubts about whether its fearsome image was ever more than an exaggeration. At the start of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, its attack helicopters were derided as flying coffins, slow, exposed, and easy prey for Ukrainian air defenses. Losses mounted quickly, and the image of Russian air power seemed to collapse. Yet in a dramatic shift, these same machines began to adapt, evolving into precision strike platforms that forced nano-analysts to reconsider their threat. As Pellegrini, a leading European expert on helicopter warfare, observed, the early days were brutal for Russia. They paid dearly for their mistakes, but they adapted quickly and changed the game entirely. In the opening phase, Moscow deployed a large rotary wing force, 75 Ki-52 Alligators, 55 May-28 Havocs, and 95 May-24 Hinds. But by March 2023, nearly 30% of that fleet was gone, 42 shot down in flight and 17 destroyed on the ground. Open-source reports suggested that, at times, a third of Russia's helicopters were grounded by damage, technical failures, or lack of spare parts. Flying low and slow in Cold War flying artillery style, they became vulnerable to manpads, heavy machine guns, and mobile anti-aircraft fire, a costly lesson in how old tactics fail on modern battlefields. Russia has recently suffered the loss of another Ki-52 Alligator attack helicopter, according to the pro-Russian channel Fighter Bomber, which published an unusually emotional post about the incident. Another propaganda outlet, Voyevoda Veshchet, claimed that 2 experienced pilots were killed. Yet, as of now, the Russian Ministry of Defense has offered no official comment, and no public details have been released about the location of the crash or the circumstances surrounding it. An even more striking episode occurred earlier in May, when Ukraine's Special Operations Forces, specifically the Bombas Ballista Unit, reported a successful strike against a Ki-52 using a simple FPV drone. In footage shared on social media on May 16, the unit claimed the helicopter was conducting a combat patrol over Ukrainian territory when it was suddenly targeted mid-flight. The contrast was shocking. A $500 drone bringing down a $16 million Russian attack helicopter. It was a vivid reminder that in modern warfare, cost and technology do not always guarantee survival. Throughout the war in Ukraine, Russia's Ki-52 Alligator has faced relentless threats from portable air defense systems. Ukrainian forces, armed with American-supplied Stingers, British Martlets, and even domestically produced Stugnapi missiles, have proven that the helicopter is far from invincible. In the early months of the invasion, Moscow often deployed Ki-52s deep behind enemy lines, hoping to disrupt Ukrainian defenses. In practice, this only exposed them to concentrated fire, and as we have seen before, the Alligator has also proven highly vulnerable to Ukraine's growing arsenal of unmanned aerial vehicles. Faced with mounting losses, Russia was forced to adapt. By mid-2023, Ki-52 pilots had shifted to new tactics designed to reduce exposure. One of the most notable was the use of lofting attacks, briefly rising above cover to fire unguided rockets or missiles at a steep angle from long range before retreating back to safety. While this method reduced the risk of being shot down, it also came at a cost. Accuracy suffered, and the helicopter's effectiveness in key battlefield roles was sharply limited. The scale of Russia's losses underscores the problem. According to the open-source intelligence project Oryx, Moscow has lost more than 60 Ki-52s, destroyed in combat, damaged in Ukrainian strikes on airfields, or lost to accidents caused by pilot error and mechanical failure. Considering that Russia began the war with roughly 90 operational Ki-52s, this represents a catastrophic attrition rate. Beyond the financial blow of losing helicopters worth $16 million each, the psychological impact is even greater. A weapon once hailed as a symbol of Russian dominance has instead become a symbol of vulnerability, eroding both battlefield confidence and the credibility of Moscow's military propaganda. The Ki-52 Alligator was once celebrated as the crown jewel of Russia's attack helicopter fleet, a machine meant to dominate the skies and intimidate its enemies. Yet today, its legacy is defined not by triumph, but by loss. Multi-million-dollar aircraft brought down by missiles, drones, and outdated tactics. Each crash is more than a financial blow. It is a symbolic defeat, eroding the myth of Russian air superiority and exposing the limits of Moscow's military doctrine. What was promoted as a predator has become prey, vulnerable to weapons that cost a fraction of its value. And in that contrast lies the true lesson of this war. Technology alone cannot guarantee survival. Strategy, adaptation, and resilience decide who controls the battlefield. For Russia, the fall of the Ki-52 is not just the loss of another helicopter, it is the collapse of an illusion, a reminder that even the most advanced machines can be humbled when modern realities collide with old ambitions.